Damn, that shit got a lot quieter after Spence went away, right?
Yeah, for real.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium Miguel. It's your favorite Uncle Silk.
It's Dan.
And Delatory.
Same corner, same times, beautiful vibes. How y'all boys feeling today?
Man, I'm feeling good. I had a Eric Church concert Saturday night. So, boys, it was lit here in beautiful Tampa, Florida. My favorite musical artist was able to grab seats right in the pit area, able to sneak myself right up on the rail, pause, and just had myself a grand old time for about 3 hours. So, shout out to Eric Church. Shout out to iPhones for great photos.
If y'all don't follow Dan on IG, man, Dan be on the bender. So if you like a nice, busy IG story, Dan's a good follow. So be sure to follow Dan. So I was watching your IG story, and you call this church guy country music Jesus. Elaborate a little bit for me.
Oh, that's the name of a song. So
my bad.
But I do think
I thought you was calling him the GOAT.
Oh, well, no, he is the GOAT, but he has a song called Country Music Jesus, and I'm pretty sure he's referring to himself.
Oh, nice.
He doesn't explicitly say it, but I'm pretty sure he's referring to himself.
What are you saying,
as Country Music Jesus.
What is he saying, Nick?
Ken Griffey Jr. used to have a shirt when he was still playing with the Mariners that said, like, walk softly but carry a big stick. Eric Church is not walking softly there.
No, he sure is. He doesn't say Eric Church is Country Music Jesus. I think there's some allusions to there needs to be a Country Music Jesus, and that maybe he's fulfilling that role in that prophecy. I'm not Eric Church. I'm not a songwriter, but I'm not going to disagree with that premise either. The listeners know.
Immediately, we've pissed off.
The listeners know, so I think he's probably the Jay-Z of country music.
Yeah, I would put him up there. I mean, there's not a lot of people that can sell.
Alan Jackson would probably be the Jay-Z of country music. Just decades of success.
Yeah,
y'all ain't put no respect on Billy Ray Cyrus.
No, Billy Ray Cyrus. Country music. No, I mean,
you're absolutely right. We have not put any respect on Billy Ray Cyrus.
I mean, if we're gonna keep it a bean, right? And Garth Brooks is probably the country music Jesus, right?
A lot of heart slaps though.
Yeah. A lot of people are gonna say, "Hey, Garth Brooks like sold out, did whatever." One of the best-selling music artists of all time. So Garth Brooks is probably the country music Jesus. But if you're talking about musicians that are still putting out music right now, it'll be hard to argue against Mr. Church.
So he's not Jay-Z. He's like NBA YoungBoy of country.
No. He's a little bit higher than NBA YoungBoy.
This isn't mumble bluegrass country. So
yeah. I'm trying
to think. YoungBoy does like crazy numbers though. But,
maybe like a
Drake,
like a Diddy, a Drake. Yeah,
Drake.
Yeah.
Country Drake.
This is the sixth time that I've seen him over the last, 12, 13 years now.
You're a borderline groupie.
Well, let me tell you about groupies.
Where's the tour bus going next?
No, let me tell you about a groupie. It's going to Chicago. The lady that was in front of us, let me tell you, she was with this guy that she met at a concert a few years ago, an Eric Church concert that I traveled together. This is her 32nd show, and she's going to 6 more stops on this tour. I'm like,
you were jealous,
fam. That's a lot of lot.
You called a 67-year-old lady fam. She was like, I love Eric Church. I'm going to Chicago, and you're like, fam. That's a much.
Yeah, that's a lot. I looked over to Brooke. I'm like, that's a little too much. It's a little too much. But enough about my weekend. I had a recovery day yesterday, so
not typical Bender vibes.
Just enjoyed the pool. Got some sun.
Dan's enjoying the new place he's at. He's enjoying like golden hour right now.
I sure am. Yeah.
Golden hours are better than golden showers.
Okay, so my weekend was good in Miami. It involved neither of those things.
Very good.
That he wants to talk about.
Yeah, Club Space. So I love going down to Miami.
That's a different life. You're not living the lifestyle to go in Club Space, man.
I've aged out of Club Space.
For sure.
I don't think you can age out of Club Space, but
it's not an age thing. It's more of a vice thing.
Yeah.
You need
just fine.
You need some accelerants to party at Club Space at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday night. Got down, saw the family, hung out with them for a couple days, watched Florida take the series over Miami, had a couple Mark Light shakes. Silk, not in attendance Friday night. Big win. Big no
down.
I had great intentions.
Okay. A lot changed from Monday to Friday.
Man, a lot did change. I'll tell you that, man. It got real celebratory, man. I told me and Nick talked earlier. I had all the intentions in the world and coming, then like just like news, and then like business is doing great. So a lot of things changed, and also I had plans already to go to Jacksonville for the weekend and spend time for my grandmother's memorial that we're going to celebrate every year. So I needed a moment just to pop champagne with my pops a little bit and just do our little thing. So the plans changed, and then I had to go to Jacksonville for the weekend. But I'm gonna catch up. I'm catching. We got some baseball plans lined up. We got to do a photo shoot for Stadium Miguel. So I'm gonna try to catch a baseball game that day.
Yeah, we do. Pops Champagne. Yeah, that'd be a good name for like a dad that parties. Hey, my name's Smokey. This is Pop Champagne.
Oh, that's
yeah. You can steal that one.
That's a nice name for a band.
Yeah,
like an R&B group, Pop Champagne.
Yeah, I like it. Well, we've got a big show today. We got Corey Bender from On3 joining us. I think for the first time ever. We've discussed in the past. We never got the schedule totally aligned, so we're excited to welcome him. And then Neil Blackmon's going to come on from Florida Basketball Hour to talk a little basketball. But before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Allen Horn Insurance. Visit allenhorninsurance.com if you are looking for any insurance need, whether that be rental, motor, life, house, boat, RV, whatever the case may be. Give Allen Horn and his team a call. He represents Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee. Give him a call at 706-692-2888 or follow him on social media at SF Agent Allen H or Allen Horn-State Farm Agent on Facebook. But again, reach out to Allen Horn if you are in Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, or Alabama. Well, let's get Corey on to the show. Corey's going to be driving, so if the volume is a little or the sound's a little wonky, that's the reason why. But we're super appreciative to welcome Corey to the show. Corey, how are you, my friend?
Hey, what's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
Corey, it sounds like you're in a damn studio. Corey drove to House of Hip Hop and is recording in an actual studio.
No, man, I'm staying in the right lane driving. So, no, hopefully it's good. I have my earpods in, so hopefully you guys can hear me pretty good.
You sound fantastic.
You sound better than Nick does most of the time. Corey, we had a big and first big recruiting weekend for the class of 2023 under Billy Napier this past weekend. I guess it started on Wednesday or Thursday. I guess from a high level overview, and then we'll kind of get into individual prospects. How did the weekend go from your perspective and everything that you've heard?
Yeah, I think overall it's a pretty good success, man. They moved the needle with a lot of big time kids. I know a lot of people want commitments like ASAP. I know a lot of fans kind of get pretty impatient when it comes to that stuff, but I think overall compared to recent years, man, I think Florida, they knocked out of the park with a lot of kids. And I can't tell you how many kids have also said just the differences between the old staff and the new staff when it comes to these visit weekends. And I try not to trash the old staff when I put these articles out, but it's like they give me these good quotes about like, hey, man, I'm considering Florida a lot more than I was a year ago. But overall, man, we have the three kids. They're all deciding in July. Florida's in a good spot for a lot of those kids. So overall, no, they did a great job.
That's the day after my birthday, Corey, 23rd. They got cooking on the 23rd because I need presents.
Oh, yeah. So, no. Overall, I think right now, though, man, I think the momentum is really going in the right direction. I think just with this staff, and I know a lot of people were asking with the amount of staff hires they made in the offseason, like how's that going to affect just recruiting the program? I think that's been a huge point from Katie Turner to the on-field coaches. It's just that home-like feel with a lot of these kids, and just the vibe has been really, really good on campus, and Florida's really in the hunt. I thought 2022 class, it was kind of like a placement class. They had to kind of come in and fill some holes and just try to add the class, try to get as many high-level guys you can. And I think with the amount of time they had, getting Kamari Wilson was just super impressive. I think just got one visit right before sign day, and they were able to convince him. So I think this 2023 class really has a chance to be special. And early on, heading into the spring, man, it's really trending up.
Yeah, you smooth right past my July 23rd question, Corey.
Yeah, no comment. Corey,
you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Silk's trying to drag that whole July 23rd that came out I
It's
forget
a
which
Saturday
coach.
in July. Usually that's like traditionally my birthday's around Friday night lights time. So when I
Okay,
see
I
that
got you.
date, they make that announcement that they're committing on July 23rd while still in Gainesville. Um, my antennas go up. That Saturday got to be some type of camp, some type of event. That's middle of camp season, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And I actually talked to Peyton Kirkland, offensive lineman from Dr. Phillips. He's one of the kids that is going to announce that day. And I kind of asked him, I mean, him and I have a great relationship, so I thought I'd just be upfront with him. I said, are you guys considered a package deal? And he said, we're just not ready to kind of reveal that yet. So it's kind of interesting, right? Because I think Derek LeBlanc and Peyton Kirkland, I'm leaning towards Florida for both those kids. Malik Bryant's kind of a different story. I know Florida's sitting up very high in this list. And I mean, under the old staff, they're kind of up and down with them. Towards the end, I mean, just bear with the way the season was, uncertainty with the staff. It was a long shot for him to kind of end up in Gainesville. But Florida made up. I mean, they hosted him earlier this. I think it was in January when he came on campus, or it was late December, and the staff made a really strong impression. It's kind of interesting. I think with him, he's more of a question mark right now. But I mean, if all goes planned, he'll be back on campus here soon. So I think that visit coming up, whenever he does schedule, it's going to be massive as far as Florida's chances. But if they all are a package deal, you have to kind of look at Florida being that one school. Miami in there too, because like Peyton Kirkland likes Miami a lot. Derek LeBlanc does too. But I think right now, I know Florida feels pretty good for all those kids. I just think with Malik Bryant, he's kind of more the question mark right now. He has a lot of big suitors. All three of those kids have lengthy offer sheets, but I think with him, there's a little bit more uncertainty. But I think with Peyton Kirkland and Derek LeBlanc, it's definitely trending up. And I mean, I'm not putting in a prediction just yet. We still have 4 months to go.
Mm-hmm.
And with these kids kind of getting on the road left and right and hitting all these big time schools, I think so much can change. I mean, you see all these visits too. There's so much momentum when you're on the visit. You're doing these interviews right after. Your emotions are high. You're on campus, but as you get when you go back home, kind of talk with your family, you see other campuses. There's always that chance that momentum starts to slide in another direction. So I think right now Florida's in a good spot for all those kids, but there's still a long way to go.
You mentioned Malik. When his visit was shortly after the new staff. Like they didn't even have a full staff yet, right?
Yeah, no, it wasn't too long ago. Yeah, it was like I think it was right before the early sign period, or I think it was in January. I have to look. But yeah, no, it was with the new staff, and they knocked it out of the park with him, man. I mean, that's where they really kind of re-entered the picture for him at that point, because I know Georgia, Alabama, Miami. Those have been three schools kind of linked to his recruitment, and now Florida's kind of right at the top as well. So I think with him, it's just he's met with the staff once. They did a great job, but that was several weeks ago. So it's going to be. If they come out and say they're a package deal, I think right now the two schools you have to look at the most right now are Florida and Miami.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Also this weekend, Nick's going to pull up the full list, but a name that a lot of people are excited about, committed to Notre Dame currently, but 5-star Keon Keeley. I think it's his first time meeting with Billy Napier, and is it his first time on campus as well?
Oh no, so he came last summer, and he was
Okay.
also at the Alabama game as well. So I think third time as a recruit. I think maybe early on as a kid he's probably been in a few games, but third time as a recruit and first time with the new staff.
And he, reading your article here on On3, he grew up, I guess, a Gators fan, which to a lot of people might be the kiss of death. But is he a guy that Florida's trending up for? Does he seem still pretty locked in with Notre Dame? And what might Florida have to do to try to convince him otherwise?
Yeah, so he's pretty locked in with Notre Dame right now. He's been careful with his words. So Notre Dame, I think with him, it's just a total package from the academics to the atmosphere in South Bend, and obviously Marcus Freeman. They had him getting promoted. That kind of, I'm not gonna say save Notre Dame, but like basically if they had to hit the reset button and the whole staff, I think he may have reopened his recruitment. But yeah, he has a great relationship with Marcus Freeman, but I think right now, if he was going to flip to a school at some point, I mean, I think Florida would be the first choice for a lot of people. And like you said, it is a kiss of death most of the time. But yeah, I mean, when we talked to him in the Alabama game, I mean, the kid completely raved about Florida. It was one of those interviews where it was like too good to be true the way he was talking about Florida. He was talking more high about Florida than commits were. Like just raving. This is my favorite school growing up, and I had an amazing time, and just this is a school I loved, and just kind of kept going on. And I think since then he's kind of been more careful with his words. Now that he's like a 5-star number one edge in the country, and he kind of understands like, okay, I got to be careful with my words because people are going to put me on like flip watch and all this stuff. But Florida, no, they definitely made a really strong impression. Mike Pearson was by his side, really left his side the whole visit. As expected, Billy Napier, I mean, Patrick Tony, you name it. I mean, he got the red carpet treatment. I think right now, if he was going to flip to a school, I don't think it will be until maybe summer or fall, or even maybe later on after that. It's going to take time and effort, but I think Florida, it's just about getting them on campus more and more and building that FaceTime with them and just familiarity and just kind of growing that relationship. Because I mean, he loves Florida. Yeah, I know this season is going to be. I think with a lot of these visits right now, I mean, everyone's an all-star in the offseason when there's no records on the line. Like everyone's recruiting well, there's momentum, but you got to perform on the field. And this fall is going to be interesting for Florida just based off where's the momentum going to be in like October, November, when it comes to like crunch time and signing these recruits. But I think with him, he's going to come back hopefully in the spring. He wants to take all 5 officials. I'd be shocked if he doesn't go to Florida for one of those. At the same time, it's close to home, so maybe he doesn't. But I think right now, Florida, if someone said, hey, if you had to pick a school where he would eventually flip to, I think it would definitely be Florida. But they just need to keep getting him on campus and getting him comfortable. Obviously, with this new staff, I think that's the biggest X factor, just getting him on campus.
So I heard you right. You said 100% flip. That's what you just said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Yep.
Yeah, I think the article's already there. That's what I heard too.
Yeah, 100% flip. Yeah, so it'll be interesting, man. And the thing is, a lot of these Tampa Berkeley prep kids, when you interview them, you usually this is like their thing at their school. You have to go through their head coach, and it's a very tricky process to even get those kids on the phone because it's just they run it differently than most high schools. So, like say right now, if I want to call him and I have a good relationship, but I have to go through his head coach, and it's just kind of so to get his thoughts on a visit. The best time to get that kid is right on campus, which we usually do. But yeah, I think Florida. I mean, they definitely made a really strong impression, man. I think he wasn't going to flip. How good the visit would have been, he was never going to flip this weekend or anything like that. But I think they definitely made. I think if you're Florida, you're pleased. You made the best impression you could have.
Right. I see Kermani, AJ, and Tony Mitchell, AJ Harris, Tony Mitchell. Those guys are they visiting the same day? And what's the buzz behind all that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, so they'll be here. I think it's March 19th. So Tony Mitchell and Kermani, they'll both be in the 19th and 20th. So they'll be in for multi-day visits. And then obviously with AJ Harris, he'll be there for one day. So I think with Kermani, I know back in the fall, right? So Florida was leading for him. They were in a great spot. And that was even like when the season was kind of going the other way, too. It was just, he loves the school. In Keon Zipper, he's always said that's his cousin. So that's obviously a thing that kind of, he has that family, tie to the university as far as knowing people up there from Polk County.
Play cousins or real cousins, Corey? What kind of reporting you got?
Well, so funny, bro. Like, yeah, he says his second cousin. So, I mean,
okay.
I mean, I don't. The thing is, he doesn't bring him up in interviews, so I don't know. I know they're close, but he mentions mostly like Gervon and all the Polk County kids. So, with Kermani, I think right now, I think Florida is in a good spot. But they're definitely this visit's going to be everything. I think right from today to when he visits, it's going to be a whole nother thing. He just hasn't met the staff yet. So he likes Florida, the school. Obviously, he sees what they're doing. There's a lot of momentum in Gainesville, but they have to get him on campus. That's the number one thing. Miami's already got him on campus. Alabama just got him this past weekend. So he's taking his visits. I know he wants to get up to Michigan and Ohio State as well. So he's more of a wait and see right now. I think over the long haul, Florida's going to be right there at the top like they have been. But and the thing is with this staff too, I haven't seen one kid that hasn't raved about this staff. So when Kermani's in town for multiple days, I think they're going to go complete all in for this kid. So I think once his visit's over, he's probably going to say Florida's right there at the top, like they were in the fall. But as far as Tony Mitchell, I think right now with Tony Mitchell, man, I would probably say Alabama might have the slight lead right now. A little bit over Florida. Florida's right there at the top. I mean, he's another kid that's getting prioritized big time. But I think right now it's kind of an Alabama-Florida battle, in my opinion. And then I think with AJ Harris, same type of thing. It's more of a two-team race as far as his dad keeps saying that they don't want crystal balls put in. They kind of want to come out of left field and make a commitment. So they're trying to keep everyone guessing with his recruitment. I think right now it's Florida and Clemson right there at the top. I think Clemson right now, I think last month I probably would have said Florida had the most momentum, but I think Clemson's kind of regained that. They just got them on campus. So Florida's in the hunt for all three of these kids. I think Tony Mitchell and AJ Harris are more realistic as of today, but I think over the long haul, I mean, Cormier McClain, he'll be right there at the very top of Florida as far as mutual interest goes. It's just about getting him on campus and meeting the staff.
All right, you brought up Money McClain, so we got to get your take on Cake Gate. Florida had the video.
Yeah, right.
FSU had that hostage video release. What's Corey Bender's expert opinion on the cake for Cormani and the kind of things that a bunch of schools, not just Florida, are doing when it comes to recruiting guys like this?
No, I think it's cool, man. I mean, he's not the only one that they've done like a happy birthday to as well. They did it for another kid, Damari Brown. But as far as cake rankings, you got to put Florida in first, then Oregon, then FSU. As far as the Cormani McClain happy birthday wishes. Yeah,
this is why we need Corey Bender on the podcast. I asked him a simple question, Silk, and he gives me a cake ranking. I didn't even ask him for a ranking. Corey's got a top 25 of cake rankings ready.
It's a Corey thing.
Yeah, right. The FSU one was pretty suspect, but no, I think it's pretty cool, man. And it wasn't your traditional just happy birthday like the other schools did. They had like a whole video made out with different staff members, and it was kind of like almost like an edit video, just the way they did it and how nice. Like how I thought it was a good presentation, man. I know the mom was pretty much speechless when she saw it. I mean, Florida's the first one to do it, so that first impression is always huge. So with him, I think it's a good thing Florida's doing. I mean, they're just very personable people. There's just just that atmosphere in Florida is just super positive. And I've talked to so many kids too. They just rave about Katie Turner, just her energy, and from just the off. I talked to Cedric Baxter.
Did we have anybody that you could even compare to last staff in the role that Katie and what she's doing?
No, not at all, man. Now that's the thing. Like the thing I heard with the old. I mean, a lot of these guys too, I have so much respect for, and I know obviously now they're at new jobs, but I still know how it was. But that recruiting office just wasn't that connected before. There was, I'm not going to say like different groups, but it just didn't, they weren't I don't think they operate as a unit should. There was a lot of miscommunication and certain kids weren't getting contacted by the staff. And then another staff member tries to jump in and kind of trying to salvage that relationship. With this staff, it's just a huge team effort. I think with Napier, people always said when he came on board just how organized he is. And I think that's like the key word here when it comes to the whole staff and the whole program is just how organized they are as far as from recruiting to off-season workouts to, from everything, from all the stages, like how Napier has the stages of the program in the off-season. It's mind-blowing, really, honestly, when you really break it down how organized the guy is. But yeah, to answer your question, so no, I think with Katie Turner, she's been awesome. I mean, every kid brings her up too. And you would have a lot of times on these visits too. You'll remember the positional coaches, but some kids last season be like, I talked to someone in the recruiting office. They wouldn't have the name on hand. They know Katie Turner's name like offhand as far as, who they talk to. And just, I know Jordan Hall in Jacksonville, he's a defensive tackle. He basically said she's the best.
Paul, I like that kid a lot.
Yeah, no, he's really good, man. He's right like towards the top of that big board at D tackle. And he basically said she's like the best recruiting director, best recruiting personnel he's ever came across. And Cedric Baxter, the running back out of Orlando, he said the same thing. He goes, he's like, I saw so many things on my visit, from the new facilities to, just hearing from the staff. But my time with Katie Turner was the best. She was just so positive and really made me feel at home. So yeah, no, she's been awesome, man. And we're just getting started as far as that staff being on campus.
Hey Corey, let's get a little weird, man. You rank the top 3 running backs in the state from your perspective. Give me your 3.
As far as the ones,
Silk's caught me lying on this a couple of times. I think I've had 3 number ones, 3 number 2s.
Yeah, you switch every week.
As far as the ones that like on Florida's board, like you're talking about Baxter.
No, your opinion of what you think the top 3 backs are.
I think honestly, I'm a Baxter fan, man. I like Baxter. I like Richard Young as a second, and the third one, I like Treon Webb. But I mean, yeah, I'm definitely a Baxter fan, man. He's really productive. I mean, good balance. He's a bigger back too. And Richard Young, I mean, it's almost a toss-up between those two, honestly, for the first spot for me. Who do you have, So? Who do you have as your top one?
I had Richard, man. I just like that top. I like his top end speed, but Baxter is more of a complete back, and I think his ceiling may be a little bit high, especially for like what we want to do.
True. Yep.
And plus, I'm gonna start curbing my opinion because I think we leading for Baxter. So I think my bias is gonna kick in a little bit here.
Yeah, I think right now it's running back. Richard Young's kind of always going to be a long shot. I'm going to say a complete long shot. I mean, anything's possible, but Ohio State's been the best shot, best position for a while
Right,
now.
right.
I think he heads out of state for college. That's kind of been the writing on the wall for a minute, but they're going to get him on campus. I mean, you always recruit kids like that, go all in until they tell you no. But I think Baxter, most likely as far as in the class, and then Treon Webb. Treon Webb, I mean, it's kind of interesting with him. His list is kind of all over the place. Florida wasn't in the top 11, and now they are in his top group. And he already has 4 officials scheduled too. He just sent one with Baylor today, so it's kind of all over the place with his list. But Florida's right there they're right there at the top after hosting him this past week.
Corey, I want to get into some internet drama that you got into. I think it was on Friday night about Hakeem Williams from Stranahan.
Corey just making up stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
Corey putting out fake quotes and then using somebody to record some fake audio from that interview. But no, I want to get your thoughts, on Hakeem Williams, but I also want to get on, obviously the state of Florida is loaded in the wide receiver position this year, really in all skill positions, to be honest. But what is your, kind of your top list of potential targets for Florida? And then certainly break down that Hakeem Williams drama as well.
Yeah, I think Hakeem Williams, I'll start with him real quick. I think with him, his list, he's another kid that, Florida was trailing for. He was a kid that Florida wasn't even in the mix for the old staff. Even with the new staff, they weren't really communicating with him. But that's all kind of changed, man. I think that was the main drama is if he stayed in state and picked a Florida school, I mean, Florida would be the choice. And I kind of get if you don't really follow recruiting, you hear that quote, it doesn't even sound realistic because Miami and FSU both made his top group, and then Florida just came in, and it just shows to the new staff like how strong of an impression they're making on these kids. But yeah, I think with him, even though he says that, I still think over the long haul, unless he gets back to campus another time and maybe takes an official. I mean, the chances of landing him, I'm not going to say they're. I mean, Florida definitely has a lot of work to do there. They definitely made an impression, but it's probably getting back on campus. I think most likely at receiver right now is Eugene Wilson out of Tampa Gaither. He's a kid that's flew up the board from a recruiting standpoint, and just as far as his offers coming in, his ranking, he went from a 3-star to a top 50 player overall with On3. Grew up a diehard Florida fan. I know we talked about this already, Dan, as far as the kiss of death, but Florida was his favorite school growing up by a long shot, and that was the offer immediately. Like once he got it, I talked to him on the phone, and he's one of those kids. He got Georgia and Alabama shortly before that, and obviously you're stoked to get those offers, big time programs, but you can just tell in his voice that Florida one meant a lot to him just from his family. So getting him, Florida's the leader. I submitted a prediction right after his visit. I think he's the most likely right now. You got Tyler Williams from Lakeland, who I'm really high on. I really like that kid. Even in the fall he has some good offers, but you watch his film, like, man, this dude should have like 40 offers, 30 to 40 offers. And now it's all starting to add up.
Why do you think he doesn't have those offers?
Well, he has them now, but at the time, I think
right.
He transitioned.
A position change, right?
Yeah, quarterback. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, and when I saw his stuff at the time, I was like, man, I mean, you look at a kid. I think his route tree. I mean, he was pretty limited. He was kind of he's going to beat you deep. He's going to have good size and that type of thing. But over time, he's went to these camps. He's really just refined his technique from a receiver standpoint. But he's right up there too. I think he's another kid that Florida's. I mean, mutual interest is definitely really high there. Bryson Rogers, another kid out of the Tampa Bay area. He Florida. Florida was the leader under the previous staff. So once he gets to campus and meets the new staff, Alabama's right there for him too.
We got to be good. If we was leading with the last guys, we all right.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Yeah, if Florida was trending under the previous staff, this staff definitely has a chance to get there, right at the top for him. So one kid I do like too, man, Silk. I don't know if you watched this film. It's Malik Benson, the kid of Hutchinson Community College they just offered last week. He's like the number one JUCO receiver. I really like his film. Really productive kid, and I know he's going to get to Florida for a visit as well.
I'm gonna check that out. We are going to need immediate help, I think. So JUCO, I'm not mad at JUCO or transfer portal when it comes to skill position, because I think especially at wide receiver, we'll see how spring shake out, but I think we could use some immediate help, whether it's recruiting or the portal.
Another kid too, Brandon Ennis from South Florida, down your way. I think getting him is. I'm not going to say. I mean, it's a long shot. I mean, I think right USC's trending is previously committed to Oklahoma. We'll see though. Yeah, I mean, it's just Santana Fleming, his teammate. I know he's really high in the staff. So you have those two kids down at American Heritage too on the board. I think with Ennis, though, it's going to take a lot of work to kind of convince him to kind of. Florida they've always been like in that number 5-6 range for him. So we'll see once he gets to campus if that changes.
Corey, I want to ask you about quarterback. It's obviously a question that a lot of people are wondering. Obviously their eyes are looking at Arch Manning, who has said that Florida is in his top 5, top 6, whatever that number might be. I know that they've got a quarterback from Alabama, Chris Vizina, I believe is the name.
Yep.
That's going to be visiting towards the end of the month. Where does Florida's quarterback board sit from what you know?
Yeah, so I mean, they haven't sent out many offers at quarterback. They're kind of taking a more patient approach. Arch Manning, as expected, he's a 5-star kid, number 1 in the country. So, obviously that's the kid they really want. But like you said, Chris Vizina, I think right now he's probably most likely. But when I say most likely, I don't mean Florida's in the driver's seat. I just think out of those two guys, he's more likely to end up in the class if I had to pick between them. He's gonna visit this month. No set date as of yet. Could be in April too, just depending because they're not hosting any kids this week because the staff is on spring break. So then you have those last 2 weeks in March. We'll see if they can get him on campus. He actually came in early September last year too. So he's been to campus before. He has a really good relationship with Chase Clark. Those two know each other from just being where they lived and kind of a background. They have some mutual people they know. But I think quarterback is kind of a wait and see, man. I mean, I think Vizina, if they can get him on campus, that would be huge to kind of meet with the staff. I know mutual interest is high. Arch Manning's going to get to campus as well, but I think right now it's just kind of Florida's definitely trailing there. It's going to take some work to kind of I mean, you never know though. They could roll out the red carpet, and they just blow them away, and next Florida's right there at the top for them. So I think those are the two guys until they offer other guys. Those are the two main targets they're focusing on the quarterback.
It still put me on the spot. We talked about it last week. What's the timeline for Arch? And does Florida like Nick enough that hey, if Nick visits and wants to pull the trigger, do you wait? Sorry, Chris.
Don't I know your name's Nick, dude, but don't be.
Nick doesn't have a committable offer.
Oh, I'm the third name in this damn picture up here. I'm trying to push it up to the front. If Chris, I'm only saying his first name because I can't pronounce his last one, even though I've listened to it 3 times now. If he wants to pull the trigger and wants to commit, what does Florida do? Do you wait and hope for Arch, even though, like you said, you probably have a better chance of landing Chris? I guess what do you think Florida would do? And then in your opinion, what would you do if you were Billy Napier?
Yeah, you take Vizina. I think Florida. I know they want to get the best kids, and I mean, you're Florida. You should be able to be in competition for the best kids in the country. But Vizina is a top 100 kid. You don't if he wants to commit, you don't pass on him, and I don't think Florida would pass on him either. I know Florida. They're recruiting. Obviously, they're recruiting Arch Manning. They're going to get the kid on campus, but I think they'd be lying to themselves if they think right now they're at the very top because I mean there's work to do there. So I think with a kid like Vizina who's really made strides over the last year and a half, and now he's a top 100 kid. I think if that kid wants in, you take him, and you start building around him in that class. I mean, Florida's seeing a good spot for so many 2023 kids, but getting that signal caller in the class to start recruiting, kind of like how it was with Nick Evers last year. I mean, I know he's not in the class now, but as far as getting that kid is vocal, get him in the class, start trying to build around him, and considering his ranking and how highly touted he is and coveted by all these big name schools, I think you definitely take him, and I think Florida would do the same thing.
Already.
Corey, one final question for you. Wanted to talk a little bit about, I know a lot of people are wondering about Creed Whitmore. Obviously his older brother plays at UF. Just a name that a lot of people have heard for a long time. A bit of a, she's a track guy. I know that, he's a 3-star on 3 right now. Is he kind of a wait and see to see where, the rest of that wide receiver board, checks out before an offer is given, or where does Florida sit with him?
No, for sure. Yeah. So I talked to him last week after his visit, and this kid, I mean, he's a very mature kid, just straight to the point. I think a lot of kids, if you ask them that question about the offer, they kind of beat around the bush a little bit. And yeah, I mean, they wouldn't answer it truthfully, but he was completely upfront about it. He's like, They like me a lot. I talk to Kerry Colbert 2 to 3 times a week, but they just want to see me run routes. So he's like, they're going to come see me in the spring, and they know I play quarterback and I'm an athletic kid, but they just want to see me, run routes at school, come by during the spring eval period. So I think with him, they obviously like him. Kerry Colbert's talked to him 2 to 3 times a week. He had good talks with Coach Napier, and they love his character, grades, and they think he's a very athletic kid. But and like you said too, Dan, as far as they're in a good spot with a lot of these receivers. They're not the leader for a lot of the kids. Eugene Wilson they're the leader for, but I think they're going to kind of wait to see how the board shakes out. But if they like what they see in the spring, you know what I mean? It's kind of like what Dan, when they had him in town for Friday Night Lights, the same type of situation. They had him in camp, and he performed really, really well. He scored several touchdowns and really put on a show, and Florida offered him. So same type of situation with him with the new staff. Just want to see him perform and actually be a pure wide receiver. And if they, like what they see, and they're probably going to extend an offer. And I think with this staff too, they trust their evals. I know when it was a short class, they came in, at the end of the year and they had to put this class together, but they're not worried about, what people think. Oh, this kid's ranked there. They like their guys, and they're going to trust their evals.
We said it about the last step too, though. Just to be fair, Corey.
Hey, say it one more time.
We said about the last staff too. They trusted the evals too, and some of them were
right. No, it's a common theme, right? Right. Yeah, I just think if they like the kid, maybe an offer is extended, but I don't think they have to rush into it either. I think this is a kid. If Florida offered him in the fall, I think the kid would still take a hard look at Florida and be like, hey, this is where I want to be. So I think the kid's been mature about the whole situation. He understands it. So I think both parties are kind of at understanding. We're going to see how this plays out. We're going to come watch you and kind of go from there.
Awesome. I do have one more question. It's a question on pronunciation. I know Corey and myself have both tried it. Samuel,
my ass, man.
The 5-star athlete Samuel, is it Impemba or how do you pronounce his last name?
It's funny, man. You're putting me on the spot. I've been saying Impemba.
Yeah, he don't know.
No, very good.
Thank God when I jump on the phone to him, I just say, "What's up, Sam?" I don't even have to go there.
That's the way to do it. We'll just call him Sam from here on out.
Yeah, just call him Sam or just, but what's up, man? How you doing? I just kind of skip. I've had it was so funny. I had the situation last night.
You get to like talk to him in person, but we got like people won't know Sam if we just say Sam on the show.
Exactly,
so we got to say his last name. Yeah.
I had a situation last night with the 2024 running back who's committed to Florida, Jarek Gibson. I don't know if it's Jarek or it's Jarek. I said Jarek, and it's funny. So I called his dad. And I thought it was his number, and he didn't correct me on it. I was like, "Shit, man!" Like,
I would think it's Derek with a J, so Jarek.
See, yeah.
You'd think
his dad didn't say anything. His dad didn't say anything to me about it. So
I'm just letting you know how black people do stuff. So like, we changed one letter to pump the name a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like trick the name out.
Put us on game. So put us on game.
Yeah. That's how it all happens, man. Like Derek is pretty much just Eric with D in the front.
See, you know what's funny? So my
right.
wife,
So Jarek, Derek, like all that got to be. I don't think it's Jarek. That would just be weird.
It's funny because my wife.
You think Corey went way out of pocket?
With you what's so funny?
I'm trying to help him. I'm trying to give him the science to how black people name their kids, bro. That's all I can do. It's
it's funny. So my wife's name's Listina, and like and it's so funny. She's Jamaican, right? And she had the same discussion.
You know,
so she had the same discussion with her friend yesterday. I'm like working on the thing, and it was like she was like trying to give me this whole thing. I was like, man, whatever. I'm like trying to write the story. I'm like,
I could be wrong. You know, his name, you could be right. His name could be Jarek or something.
No, I said Jarek the first time, but then I was overthinking it when the phone was ringing with his dad. I'm like, well, fuck, man, maybe it is Jarek. I'm like, I don't want to fuck this up.
Corey's like me when it comes to my takes. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna try them all. I'm gonna call him Steven. We'll see if he listens or answers to Steven, Jarek. We'll try everything.
Yeah. If you try everything, they definitely I'm gonna give you some more another look behind the black curtain, Nick. If you try all of them, they definitely gonna get off the phone and be like, man, that white man called me everything but the right thing.
I'm gonna hit him up tomorrow.
Just go one.
I actually have to hit him back up about this other visit. So I'll report back to you guys and see what I have.
I Corey's gonna call him and be like, yo, man.
Both guys. Let us know.
I gotta know your name.
Guys. Yeah.
I don't even know about visit. I don't even know about Florida. Just how do I say her name, dog?
I'm like, man, fuck your visits, fuck all the other stuff. What's how you pronounce your name?
I mean, we're getting more. I mean, that's to speak of like even the names. A lot of names we can't pronounce, like African names. We're starting to get foreigners to like play this sport a lot more than in the past. Like it was just used to be Jones, Jenkins, Smith, and now we're getting a lot of foreign names. So that's also to speak like the spread of football as well. It's getting a little bit outside of the U.S. So I think that's dope.
So get ready for more is what Silk's saying, Corey.
Yeah, right.
For sure.
Yeah, well, Corey, man, we appreciate you coming on today. Like I said, I think it is the first time that we've had you on. So really appreciate your time. Obviously, you guys are businesses booming over at On3 right now, but just let everybody know where they can find you and read more about, the Gators recruiting class.
Yeah. My Twitter is Corey, and then _ Bender, BENDER. And then Gators Online, obviously, is straightforward for our Twitter account. And same thing with the website, man, GatorsOnline.com. And we're running a 7-day free trial right now. I don't know if Nick knows, but yeah, there's no end date on that so far. So definitely head over there if you guys haven't already. Definitely pumping out a lot of content day in and day out. So definitely, if you're not subscribed, man, definitely tune in over there.
We locked Corey in a basement on Saturday and just had him write 15 stories.
I like it.
I'm down in Coral Gables drinking a milkshake, and Corey's just
holding down
crushing recruiting stories, holding down the fort.
I mean, it's easy right now. You ain't got to reach for like sensational shit when it's popping. Like when it's popping, it's popping, right, Corey? Like you ain't got to reach for stories.
Yeah, no, it's just about just getting the info, man, at this point. I mean, even there's other kids I'm still hitting up. And, yeah, this week, it won't, like I said, they're on spring break this week. So I'm doing a lot more breakdowns and features this week, while the staff is away. So a lot of cool shit to come.
All right.
Best in the business. Hit up that promo on 3, Gators Online.
We appreciate your time, Corey, and best of luck with everything. Man. And we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys.
I'll be honest with y'all, man. Every time y'all say on 3, I be waiting for y'all to say some shit, and we gonna say it on 3. I be forgetting that it's a company. Like when y'all say on 3, I be like, all right, count it down, Nick.
There's an edit coming.
Yeah. What's up? 1, 2, 3, team.
That's the go team.
1, 2, 3, same corner, same time.
Corey is
that might be the corniest thing you've ever said in 200 some episodes of Stadium and Gale.
It was meant to be corny, so I'm on target. How about that?
Bullseye.
Corey is
not the Corey Bender, man.
Is nuts. Just an incredible wealth of knowledge.
Can't go wrong with getting a Corey, man. I'm telling you,
just to be able to
get yourself a Corey.
It's a mix of our podcast. It's Corey and then Dan Bender.
His name
fits right with the show.
That was a bit of a reach.
Oh,
yeah, you see.
I like it. I'll allow it, Nick. That was
I thought
first it went over my head.
The target audience was not Dan. There was a one-person audience, and then I missed it. That's not good for me.
Man, first it went over my head, but then when it hit, I'm like, all right, I'll allow it. Nice.
All right, I'm back to the open mic nights. Still working on my tight hour for HBO.
You just keep waiting, Nick. I'm sure the phone calls happen at any moment.
That joke, yeah.
By the way, did you guys see that T.I. is doing stand-up now?
Yeah, I can't wait to not watch that, man.
I can't wait to not watch that.
I don't know what I'm gonna be doing, but it's gonna be more exciting than watching that. I'm not watching T.I. tell a joke.
Yeah, that was nuts when I heard it. I only heard a clip, and it was relatively funny. But he talked about how he can't be talking about, rolling around on 24s when he's in his 40s anymore. I'm like, well, not with that attitude, you can't.
Oh, he hasn't come out with a song in how long? So he probably can't afford the 24s anymore. I don't know how long the money
conversation about T.I. being a comedian. Like,
let me get at T.I.'s pockets, but I don't think T.I.'s a comedian.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
It's a wild world. You could be anything in this world, but you just can't wake up and be a comedian. I'm sorry. That's
especially a stand-up comic, man.
Stand-up comic, like, come on, bro.
I feel like if he wasn't T.I., he probably wouldn't get the opportunity. But since he's got the opportunity,
we get to see him just fail miserably.
That's it.
That's right.
Man, you have built a platform which you are going to fall right down on your face on.
Right.
It's a gigantic platform. Millions of people will tune into whatever venture you're doing.
And keep in mind, it's going to be like production up, like edited down.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get the full-fledged
No.
stand up because you can't just walk on that stage with no experience and be talking about I'm doing stand up. I don't care.
All of a sudden you're gonna see one special where he's wearing like 7 different shirts because it's been cut up over like 15 hours worth of content. I can see it.
Shout out to the King of the South.
King of the South. Let's see. Before we get Neil on, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Home Field Apparel. Dropped some new stuff this weekend. I believe it was the Kansas Jayhawks, if I'm not mistaken. But check them out. They are dropping a whole slew of new schools and new programs. They're going to be adding some new Florida stuff in the not too distant future. So visit them, homefieldapparel.com. Use promo code Stadium and Gale, all one word. You'll get 15% off of your order. Best products, in my opinion, in the shirt world. So go check them out. Game time or homefieldapparel.com. Use promo code Stadium and Gale.
Real quick. I take that back. I think T.I.'s stand-up is gonna be hilarious.
Bro, you just did a 180.
Yeah, I forgot, man. I'm trying to get back in there for SEC Media Days around that time. Trap Museum, man. So I think it's gonna be hilarious, man. Shout out to Reem and everybody that listens to the show, man. We got some people from the Trap Museum from T.I.'s camp that listen to the show, man. And I want to do something again there. Stadium and Gale had an event there in the past, Nick. You may not know, but
yeah, and then
and we'll never have one again. Good job. Way to fumble the bag.
I believe we were even told that T.I. watched a little bit of the live stream for a little bit.
Yeah, he commented on the live stream, was like, hey, you guys, shout us out and whatnot. So
his hilarious ass commented on the live stream.
Yeah, he might be the next Dave Chappelle. Like, I don't know. The guy has a great rap delivery. It may translate to comedy. Who knows, man? I'm excited to hear about it.
I don't know if I've ever seen you shift that quickly. But
I just remember that, man. Whatever. What we got next?
But before we talk about the NFL Combine and a bunch of other things that are going on, and who knows, maybe a little bit more about T.I.'s comedy future, we're going to bring Neil Blackmon on again from Saturday Down South from Florida Basketball Hour, where he hosts with our good friend Eric Fawcett. Gators come off a loss to Kentucky to end the regular season. They will be here in Tampa in the next couple of days for the SEC tournament. Neil, I wish we could welcome you in better, happier times. But as always, we love having you on the show. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, guys. Yeah, I mean, not the year anybody wanted. Getting kind of
every year,
broken
Neil.
record.
Every year, Neil.
Broken record now.
Don't let Silk throw punches. We didn't know that Kelly Ray Finley was in the green room and Silk was trashing Mike White, and Kelly Ray came in.
They left me out to dry. It depends on who tells the story, Neil.
Not they.
No,
I didn't know she was there either. Just Dan.
Yeah.
Kelly Ray comes out and just hit Silk with the 1-2. Like, don't talk about my guy like that.
Yeah.
And then
I knew it was coming. I put myself on mute and just started laughing.
And then he dropped the dud the next night, so I felt like glorious.
There it
Neil,
is.
Gators,
there it is.
Gators,
as he's prone to do.
Yeah.
Right, Neil. Give me the science, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to hear good stuff about Mike White, man. Shout out to Kelly.
Neil, Gators and the SEC.
And let's before we get into the team and what they look like on the court. I think Neil had the information first about Keontae. And what a special moment it was to see Keontae, and they kind of he out and announced today with mom and dad, and he's in a shirt and jeans. Jogs back in and comes out in a uniform, and you get a really cool hats off to Coach Cal, hats off to Mike White for kind of coordinating that with the referees and the league to be able to get the tip to Keontae and get him one more start for Florida in college basketball. Can you tell us a little bit about how that came? How long that was in plans?
That had been in the works for about a week. So John Calipari actually, to his credit, asked to do more. And his plan was to have it be the actual start of the game and have Keontae go down and make a layup and then he would call a timeout or Florida would call a timeout, and it would be 2-0. And somebody said, Cal, you weren't worried about giving Florida 2 points? And he's like, it's a 40-minute game. And Florida would certainly have way more than 2 points if Keontae Johnson were on the floor.
Yeah.
So
Mike White was like, what if we extended that for the entire game and we just let Keontae get a couple steals, maybe a triple-double?
Yeah, and I don't really know why. I mean, I guess Cal didn't get into it. He just said, Mike said that was okay. I don't know if it had to do with the insurance policy. Somehow I doubt it. Like, some people have brought that up, and I don't think that an insurance company in good faith could negate the policy for a ceremonial layup. But, that doesn't seem particularly, like a legal concern for somebody that's dealt with insurance companies in the law. Like, I'm like, I don't really buy that. But for whatever reason, they ended up going with the ceremonial tip. And then I think that was special in and of itself, but nobody knew what Keontae was going to do. So when he got down and kissed the Gator logo, that was it. It was like Niagara Falls for me. I was done. So it took me about 10 minutes to get my emotions in check. I can't imagine what it was like for other people, much less.
I had an emotional weekend.
Oh, I definitely cried.
You cried? Oh, shit. Okay. You cried, Nick?
Yeah. No, I definitely cried. I mean, because
I
want to do a tear check real quick, Nick.
I was in the car. I was in the car on the way to. I was in the car on the way to Miami for game 2.
So you didn't see it. I know Dan didn't cry. Dan ain't got no.
No,
heart
I did.
like
I
that.
did not cry. In fact, I only watched.
Did you hear Nick cry?
I haven't heard Nick. If
I would have seen it live, Nick cried.
I haven't heard Mick Hubert's
Nick cried,
but I heard it was he was pretty emotional watching it. I mean, I think for anybody that was close to Keontae or around the program, or anybody that was in the arena in Tallahassee and saw it, because I we really didn't see it last year in 2021 when it actually happened. I was talking to TJ Pittenger about it, and he was there for that Florida State game. And he's like, we thought he was dead. Just the way that he fell, and just shocking. So I think anyone that, has probably talked to Keontae or been around the program or was there in the arena that day, probably, it would tug on them a little bit harder than Hayton Stoke over here just trying to get fire Mike White the whole year.
Hey man, don't just throw me under the bus.
It was definitely tough.
Keontae rant, like that was beautiful the way you was like spelling all that out, and you just throw me under the bus, in the midst of all that.
I'm trying to get Kelly Ray back on the show. I gotta keep jabbing you.
Pause. Neil, give me some science, man. What do you think, man? This NIT team, or what do we draw the line? This what do you think? We made the turning, or this is an NIT team? Where we at with it?
So they got to win 2 games, or it's an NIT team. Yeah,
and they win.
I don't see it. So bracket matrix is where bracket matrix is where I go. That is like an aggregate of all the bracketology people. And they rank them in terms of accuracy, like over the last 5 years. And only 9 of the, it's like 60 brackets have Florida in right now. With 1 win, the probabilities take it up to about 20. With 2 wins, it would be about 50 of 60. So Florida's probably can be very comfortable with getting into the tournament if they win 2 games. Problem with that is they got to beat Texas A&M, who already beat them, and then they got to beat Auburn a second time. And Auburn still has a decent shot at a 1 seed, but won't get a 1 seed if they lose in the quarters to Florida. So probably an NIT team if they can't get those 2 dubs.
So Florida is likely going to go to the NIT. They're going to likely turn over almost their entire roster this offseason. Is that my understanding? I know that there's going to be a couple of these transfers that still have some eligibility. I know that they recruited decently well. But where does Florida go from here? It seems like it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, good recruiting class. You got Svat Eric on. We're all high on Kwesi Reeves, Eric and me. Think he's going to take a pretty big jump. Niles Lane started coming on a little at the end of the season. We need him to figure out how to shoot a jump shot, but elite college defender already. But not a lot of pieces coming back. Castleton will be gone. Appleby can come back. We don't know what he'll do. Fleming's gone. Myron Jones could come back. Don't know if he will. Don't know if we need him to. Brandon McKissick gone. Anthony DeRuggi gone. Jatobo, who knows what the deal is? That's a pretty serious injury. So, yeah, I mean, you've got, even with the 3 signees right now, they're probably going to add a 4th signee. They would still, with all those departures, need to hit the portal for a couple guys, including a point guard. They might need 2 point guards if Tyree Appleby leaves, which who knows? His sister plays in Europe now, so she knows what it's like to grind out a living in Europe. Maybe that's what Tyree wants to do. With NIL, he's the kind of guy who can make some money. But, is it playing in Turkey money? I don't know. So, yeah, I mean, definitely another roster overhaul, which for Mike would be 4 and 5 years.
Good.
Hard to win that way when you're flipping over your roster all the time. Hard to win that way.
And I think a lot of us, Neil, and I think you and I talked about this. It might have been in Jacksonville. You win if you look at some teams that have had success, and when you get to the tournament, it's teams that have been older, have had some really good success, or teams that just had sensational point guard play. And when you get into a tournament setting, those teams have gone pretty far. And we thought, okay, well, you've got those guys, and they might have been mid-major guys, guys from smaller schools, but hey, they're hungry. They're coming in. They wanted to play on this stage. They wanted an opportunity to do this. What do you think has happened? Because I think you and I thought early on coming into the year, hey, this could be a good team with some older leadership and Tyree. What do you think has been what has maybe held them back? It just seems like, and it's almost been a theme with Mike White's teams, whenever they get a little run going or a little momentum going, win a couple good games, it's almost like, okay, well, where's the upset? Where is the downturn coming? Because his teams don't seem to handle that success really well.
Yeah, I mean, the consistent thing about Mike White teams is that they're inconsistent. And I think that's kind of where it is. And I'll say fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, you won't fool me again or whatever. Because a couple years ago with Kerry Blackshear and all that group, I think I picked Florida to go to the Elite Eight again. I wasn't ready to pull the Final Four trigger on a preseason Florida Basketball Hour show. This year, I thought this was a Sweet 16 team because they were old and they had a point guard, and we had been waiting a while to have a veteran team. And then they started out that hot, and I thought I was right. But look, the constant criticism I have is that the program doesn't really have an identity. Their identity is essentially that they play hard and they like their coach. And their coach is a nice guy, right? Is that the identity of the program? Because when you think about Florida on offense, you don't think about much. Some people would say scoring droughts, but everybody has them. They've actually been better on offense this year than a lot of teams in the SEC. I think they finished 4th in the SEC in offense. They're 30th in the country in offensive efficiency, which is a pretty good number. But we heard all about this elite defense in November and December. Now they're 70th, 75th in defensive efficiency. That's not good. That'll be the worst number in the White era. It'll come 2 years after the previous worst number in the White era. White won't have had a top 25 defense in 3 years. He won't have had a top 20 defense since year 3. Florida is getting to where Mike White's staple was going to be, we're going to have a big defensive culture. It's going to be hard to score on us. We're going to be tough to play against. That's an identity. All right. That is not Florida anymore. It's not. And
playing fast was in his identity too.
Exactly. And it's not.
So Neil, where do we go from here? Right. Florida
Where do we
doesn't
go from here?
leave the singing Eric Church, Nick.
Okay.
So Neil, where do we go from here? I know Mike White has a pretty sizable buyout. I know that this is his second NIT, right? It's been a while since the first one. I think it was his first season. Is Florida in a position where you think they need to make a move, or is it just, kind of living in a euphoric world if you think that Mike White's gone after this season? I think for me, the biggest thing that I notice is apathy, in the fan base, not a big love or anger. It's just, this is what's expected. People get frustrated. But where does Florida go from here?
No, I think, Dan, that the apathy thing is a big deal because mid-season games, you get a lot of these midweek games where now it's, instead of 1,000 empty seats, it's 2,000, it's 3,000. And that's a problem because there are people I know that listen to our podcast that are in Jacksonville or in Orlando. They would go to a midweek game a couple years ago. Now they won't because why? So I think the apathy thing is a big deal. In terms of Mike White leaving, I'll tell you two things. One, he's not getting fired. All right. That's not happening in March. If he leaves, it will be a mutual parting of ways. I know you guys probably already know this because you guys talk to enough people inside the athletic building as it is. He's the second most well-liked person in that building other than Jenny Rowland. Yeah. It's like Jenny Rowland, Mike White. Yeah. So it will be a funeral the day that he is either mutual parting ways or fired. I think there's a decent chance that he takes a parachute and finds another job. I've heard him connected with the Butler job. I've heard him connected with the NC State job, although they just re-signed their coach. I think he might leave on his own volition, and then Florida would get their own coach. That would also allow both him to save some face and Florida to save millions of dollars.
It's gotten toxic to the point where his wife and kids, because his kids are now getting old enough to the point where they understand what people are saying about dad and they hear it and they can read it. It's gotten to the point where they're not even attending games like they used to. So you're in a situation where Mike is a dad first, and you're in a situation where a kid can't even come to the basketball games, and that might create an ultimate atmosphere where
Mike White can't bring kids to basketball games because it's getting toxic. I like it, Nick.
It is toxic.
I mean,
I'm just saying that might be
you gotta write it, bro. You gotta write that article, fam.
I'm not trying to get Mike White out of here.
It's an actual thing. I mean,
that's a take.
I think his family, they're gonna look at it like his family. So they're like, well, he's never had a losing season. He's gone to however many NCAA tournaments in a row. He's replaced a legend with integrity. And all that is great, but it still might be it might be beneficial for both parties to, make a move.
Is there a connection to that Ole Miss job? I know that he went to Ole Miss. A lot of people have mentioned his name. It's a step down. Yeah,
I think that's an interesting one. I think he'd be interested. I don't know if he wants to take a step down in the same league as ruthless as the SEC has gotten, though. That's why I think the Butler job is probably really interesting to him because that's a good program. It's not as good as Florida, but it's in the Big East. So if he goes to the Big East or the ACC, he's a top 5 coach in the ACC next year. If he goes to the Big East, he's a top 5 coach in the Big East. In the SEC, if the four of us are having beers and you say – you get a few in me and you say, Neil, what number is Mike in the SEC? I'm going 9 or 10, right? So do I want to be the 10th best coach in a tough league? Or do I want to be a top 5 coach at a good job in a league where I can still recruit? And at Butler, if he wins 20 games and goes to the NCAA tournament all the time, they're going to love him.
Right.
Well, if you leave Florida in shambles, it might not be a step down to go to Ole Miss. You might have a fresh slate. So maybe Mike, this has been Mike's plan all along.
Well, you know, the good news is with a top 20 recruiting class coming in, one that could get into the top 15 if they get their last guy. You know, 3 of them signed. The 2 that are in state, I don't think would want out of their letter of intent. The one that would worry me would be Jalen Reed. Now, that sucks because I think Jalen Reed is the best player he's signed in, I don't know, maybe ever. So, you know, that would be bad, but I don't necessarily think it's a shambles situation from a culture standpoint, which is what we've dealt with on the football side, right? The culture is healthy. What they need is schematic health. What they need is a guy that can X and O with the best coaches. And they haven't had that under Mike White. They just haven't. And he's pragmatic. I'll give him that. Like, he tries hard. But like, again, what is the identity of Florida basketball at the end of year 7? They play hard. That's all we can say.
Like, we've been saying that. That's the same question we've been asking every year, because it's been a different identity every single year.
That you're absolutely right, you know. And I'll be the first one to say,
I want to just care about Florida basketball again, because I just don't care no more, man, because it's just not there. I don't believe in this guy. I think we're just stagnant. We've been stagnant for a long time. You either improving or you're not. There's nobody just staying the same. So we either getting worse or we're getting better. And right now, I just think we've been getting worse under Mike White. And I just can't take the program serious right now.
I mean, that's fair, man. Look, I after 3 years of Mike White, I was pleased. I thought it was good. That third team that lost in the second round played an epic game with Texas Tech and lost, right? Should they have been a higher seed? Yeah, but they also led the country in quad 1 wins. So they had more big wins than anybody that year with Chioza. I thought those 3 seasons were good. And then year 4 happened where they kind of fell off a cliff in the second half of the year. Year 5, they were a Final Four preseason sexy Final Four pick, and they would have been fortunate to get out of the first round had COVID not canceled the tournament. And then last year I thought was Mike's best coaching job for reasons that don't have anything to do with basketball. But this was a huge year for him, and for me, it's just a big disappointment. And so now we're 4 years from where I've been happy with where the program's at. So I was wrong. I'll be the first one to come on and be like, man, you know, Mike had me fooled.
As George Bush said, there's an old saying in Tennessee. I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again."
Can't get fooled again.
You can't get fooled again.
That's
noted George W. Bush impersonator.
Yeah, you nailed that shit, Neil.
Yeah.
But going to what Neil said, part of, and these are conversations I've had with people in the building, part of not firing Mike White, outside of, I think, a completely asinine extension that he got. Didn't need to give him an extension at the time when he got it, but it created more money. Outside of that, you look around just at the health of college basketball and what's happening. I mean, the FBI is investigating in college basketball teams. Florida back in the 80s went on probation, or in the 70s was on probation, said never going to happen again. Dan Mullen, for as bad as a recruiter was, somehow got on probation. You're never going to have to worry about that with Mike White. And that's not something that's going to make fans feel better, but the people who are writing his checks and the people who would be in charge of or making the call to fire him, that's a big deal. You're not going to get a way situation at Florida with Mike White, and you're not going to get a scandal. He's going to do things the right way. And I think that, you know, the Scott Strickland's, the President Fox for a little bit left. They value that. They value, hey, we're not going to be embarrassed by something Mike White does off the court, just on the court.
Yeah, and that's a big piece. The other big piece is Mike White's floor is high. I mean, again, over a decade as a Division I head coach, no losing seasons, postseason appearances every single season that he's coached. And then that will continue this year with whether it's the NIT or the first round of the NCAA tournament. You know, The problem is, well, you guys know the problem. I mean, the space between his floor and his ceiling is very small. It's like Austin Appleby. Like, that guy was serviceable. He was serviceable for a quarter and a half in the SEC title game, but my man wasn't going to do that for 3.5 quarters, right? And so
it's like the Harry Potter closet. Not a lot of room between the floor and the ceiling there, but just enough for Mike to sit in there and coach some basketball.
Tiny Mike. Neil, I mean, I want to ask. I mean, do you think that his personality and his likability has certainly extended, his leash, if you will, at the University of Florida? I mean, I know the media loves him, right? They get a lot of availability. He's very open. He knows people's names. He, will extend press conferences, certainly a far much longer than a football coach may. But do you think that that's certainly, given him, some more time at Florida, is just his overall likability, both in the building and with the media?
So I think two things. I think yes, and I also think that unfortunately, what the tragedy that happened last year. Of course, Keontae's alive, and thank God for that. But the way he handled that bought him a lot of goodwill. And it should have bought him goodwill. It also shouldn't mean we don't evaluate where the basketball program is. I do think that the COVID cancellation year, the fact that COVID got canceled, and he could point at, we never got to play in the NCAA tournament. We were going to be a 7 or 8 seed. Who knows what would have happened?
You're lucky you didn't play.
Yeah, we have so much talent. Who knows? If they had lost in round 1, then maybe we're having different conversations earlier, but we're not. So, I think this is the first year where they have to look at it from a results standpoint and say, hey, what is the ceiling of the Florida program under Mike White? And also, Alabama won an SEC championship a year ago in basketball. LSU is going to get hammered by the NCAA at some point. So I don't include them in that conversation, but obviously Tennessee is rolling under Rick Barnes, however long Rick wants to coach. And then Bruce Pearl's coach for life at Auburn, which means that even if Auburn doesn't win the SEC all the time, every 2-3 years, they're going to be really, really good. So, like last year, they were terrible, but some Florida fans would rather be 13-17 one year if it meant being 24-7 and potentially the SEC champion the next year. I understand that, right? Because Billy, that's a legendary Hall of Fame coach. You're not going to replicate that. But would you like to still win championships in basketball at Florida? Yeah. Should you? I think so. I think it's a top 20 job in the country. That should be enough to win the occasional SEC regular season championship. Mike hasn't finished in the top 3 in the league since year 3, since Chris Chioza left.
Yeah, I see a very different energy towards Mike White by some people in the fan base. Obviously, most of it's apathetic or is on the fire Mike White, high, but it does seem like a lot of people have a different standard for basketball than they do for football. I mean, hear me out. I know this is a bad take and the internet's going to hate me for it, but Florida football really has about 15 to 20 years of great football, right? You had Steve Spurrier's time. You had a brief gap of Ron Zook where things weren't terrible, right? I mean, certainly we saw what terrible could mean. And then Urban Meyer, right? So over the course of, that time period is really when Florida thrived. Yes, they did well, during Charlie Pell, and obviously they've struggled since, Urban Meyer's left. But, obviously a couple good seasons, Dan Mullen. But do you think it seems to me like fans have a very different expectation of basketball, even though the amount of time where they really excelled is really not all that different in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, that's a great point about the time it's selling, because remember, a lot of people like Billy Donovan came into a program that had nothing. And it's like, well, they went to the Final Four 2 years before he was hired, and the NCAA tournament the year after that and made it to the second round. So it wasn't like people had already started to win at Florida. Norm Sloan did it cheating, but everybody in the SEC is cheating right now, except for Florida. And Georgia, Georgia's very bad. And so, you've had sustained success in this sport at UF. The other thing you have is you have one of the best recruiting bases, just like in football. because you have access to Atlanta very easily in Gainesville. It's a shorter drive to Atlanta than it is to Miami. But you can also recruit Miami, which is awesome. And then you have all the prep schools in the state, including Montverde, the best one. So where Florida's had a footprint for 20 years, right? So, those are all great things. Now, do they need to fix the athletic dorm for the basketball players? Yes. Should they probably put a coat of paint on the basketball facility building? Sure. Should they extend the support staff so that a dude like Eric Fawcett doesn't get hired by a Horizon League team, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he'd love to do analytics for the same price at Florida. Yeah. And I'm not just vouching for my boy. I mean, they need a bigger staff.
Get him out of Edmonton.
There are people they should hire, right? Somebody today said they need pretty girls to help recruit. Well, they do a pretty good job of that. And bringing in Eric Pastrana was brilliant, right? Y'all get him on the show if you can. He's awesome. But getting back to that footprint that Donovan started the program by recruiting Miami, recruiting Fort Lauderdale. And if there was somebody good in Jacksonville, Billy would camp out in front of their house, right? Florida should be doing that again. That's how Florida State got good in the sport. Ham is 75. He looks 40, so who knows? That man could coach till he's 100. But at some point when he leaves FSU, all of a sudden it's Florida State again. Get the right guy, man. You can win here.
That's crazy. Ham is 75. He looks significantly younger than I do. At double my age.
There's an old saying about that, Nick.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it, but if Corey wants to, he can.
Yeah, man. Black don't crack, man.
Unless
it's on crack. all bets are off if it's on crack. So, man, other than that, black don't crack.
Oh, man. Well, Neil, man, we appreciate you coming on the show again. You're always a wealth of information, and certainly be.
Wait, Neil, quick. Can Florida win 2 this week in Tampa?
I think they can because they're in Tampa.
Okay.
What would be interesting is, so what if they won 2? Then that's when Gator Nation's like, oh, well, it's in Tampa, So then semifinal Saturday, it's a big orange and blue building. That then it gets interesting because, God, and who knows what the hell would happen if Mike White won the SEC tournament? They'd probably lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament. But
I can see that happening.
We'll never find out. We'll never find out, Neil.
They'd have to play 4 good games in a row. So they haven't done that.
That's not happening.
It's a great what-if game, but we'll never find out.
Man, oh, man. Well, Neil, remind everybody where they can find you on Twitter, your podcast. I mean, both are not only great follows, but great listens.
Thank you. So we are on Twitter at Florida BB Hour. You can listen to us Florida Basketball Hour. We're on pretty much every platform. One thing these guys know, and do this for Stadium and Gale. If you haven't, get out there, hit a review up, give them 5 stars, hit that hard on Spotify. All that stuff helps these people. So do that for us too. If you like what you hear on our show and don't mind my occasional audio issues. Definitely check us out. And I'm on Twitter at NW Blackmon. Appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you so much, Neil.
Hold it down, Neil.
Neil Blackmon from Saturday Down South and Florida Basketball Hour.
Nobody better to talk Gator basketball than Neil and Eric. So if you are still hanging on to Florida basketball, unlike Corey Silk up there, give them a check. Yeah, check them out. Also,
I respect everybody still. I respect the loyal fans, man. If somebody's
going to break Mike White being fired, it's going to be that podcast. I'll tell you that. So tune into the podcast, even if you hate Mike White and you want him gone.
100.
You'll hear it there first.
Already. Yeah, I just can't. Football season is stressful enough, and I like my sanity. So, I choose to be happy unless the basketball team wants to be, productive and great again. You feel me?
Absolutely. Well, let's get into a few other things. The NFL Combine was this weekend. Before we do that, let's give love to our friends over at Game Time Sidekicks, GameTimeSidekicks.com. Promo code Stadium will get you 10% off. Best cups, vacuum sealed cups in all of the land, 350 plus schools.
All the land.
golf, NFL, all sorts of activities and sports. Go check them out, GameTimeSidekicks.com. Use promo code STADIUM for 10% off. You will not be disappointed in the great product that you receive. All right, gentlemen, Gators send 4 players to the NFL Combine this week: Kyer Elam, Jeremiah Moon, Zach Carter, and Dameon Pierce. Let's kind of break those down, and you can actually check out an article on the Stadium and Gale blog that will be posted in the morning about breaking them down a little bit further. Let's start with Dameon Pierce. He comes in at 5'10", 218 pounds, runs a 4.59 40, but does put up 21 reps on the 225. So ultimately, never was going to be considered a real speedster. Does well in the rest of the combine, but likely a 3rd to 4th round pick. But gentlemen, any thoughts on Dameon Pierce's performance? Were you surprised by any number or unsurprised as a whole?
I thought he lifted
maybe more. I thought maybe more reps. Listen, like Silk, I was talking about it, I was guessing, and Silk's talking about when he was a little heftier, throwing up some big boy weight on the bench press.
Bro. I used to go ham, man.
Yeah, but I mean, you get tired. Some of those guys that have short arms, like look at defensive line. We'll talk about Zach Carter. Like Zach Carter's got really long arms. You're pushing the bar way farther. Those guys with longer arms tire out quicker and don't get as much. I thought Dameon would get close to that record. I think Jerick McKinnon has 32. That's the record. I thought he'd be, near that, if not breaking it or close to it. And but listen, dude's strong. If they added squatting to the combine, he would have lifted the whole building.
Right, that's his bag. I don't think it was bad. He ran a 4.6 or some 4.7.
Yeah, 4.59.
4.59. Yeah, I mean he's a balanced back vision. That type of guy, not a top end speed guy, but I think he's fine. I think he'll get drafted. I think he'll be 5th, 6th rounder around that area. But he'll play in the NFL a long time. He's gonna be kind of like what P. Ryan is right now. He's gonna be a guy that's gonna get some carries, get in the rotation, be productive as an NFL player. Yeah.
No, I would agree. Zach Carter also performed measures in at 6'4", 282 pounds. Runs a 4.99 40. Good. Pretty good time for him. Ultimately, a guy that we'll see. I think he's a guy that's going to get drafted probably in the later rounds. Puts up 19 on the bench press. Didn't do all much else in the combine. A lot of players sat out this year for a lot of different events, but probably a late round guy. Are you surprised by anything with Zach Carter's numbers?
No, I think most of his numbers are on par with what I thought. Nothing too crazy for me.
Where do you think Zach gets drafted? I mean, do you think?
I think like 3rd, 4th round. Something.
You think so?
Yeah,
Nick,
like
what are your thoughts?
I think with Zach, he probably hated it at the time, but playing, I mean, he played damn near every position on the defensive line. And
you got a lot of film.
And NFL teams will like that and view him as versatile. He probably really more enjoys playing the 5 or the 3, but he can do a lot. So
5 or 3 technique. Explain that for the average fan. You move too fast.
He's playing inside. He'd rather play 3 would be like a defensive tackle. 5 would be kind of a stride defensive end, hand in the dirt. I think he's got value. And I think he's probably, like third might be a reach. I think he's probably a 4th, 5th round guy.
I didn't follow the draft too close. Oh man. Super washed.
We're losing
bro.
you.
I'm yelling. Yeah, I'm super washed.
Super washed.
Yeah, man. Too much celebrating this weekend, man. Catching up with me right now, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm crashing. What What did Jeremiah Moon end up doing at the draft? I was curious for how he was going to perform.
I'm glad you asked. That was the next person on this list. Measures in it.
Professional segue.
That's perfect. He knew it was coming. Pause. 6'5",
Oh,
249 pounds. Arm length of 35 inches. Let's see, ran a 4.76 40-yard dash, had a really high vertical jump, finished fourth overall on the combine with a 40.5-inch vertical, and then had 11 feet 1 inch on the broad jump, which was also fourth overall. Obviously tested really well, struggled with a lot of injuries at Florida, was at Florida for the duration of 2 full coaching staffs. So I think that, he's a guy that, may get drafted, probably won't. But, certainly tested really well that, those numbers might, elevate him just a little bit.
Yeah, like Spencer said, that broad jump is insane for a guy that size. I don't know if he gets drafted, but I said this about Marco last year, and Marco got drafted. So you just never know how some of these NFL teams view these guys. But he's injury prone, decent combine, not a whole lot of production, but you can see the potential there. He has a high ceiling. He's just always injured. So it's just interesting to watch. We'll see what happens with him in the draft process, but I don't think he gets drafted.
Yeah, certainly did the best that he could there. Nick, what are your thoughts?
I think he will surprise people. Like, he will get drafted. He's a guy that the Senior Bowl for like 3 years and have a good relationship with the people there. They've been raving about him. Jim Nagy, find you somebody that loves you the way Jim Nagy loves Jeremiah Moon. And I think teams will see his athleticism.
That's a wild wagon to hit your
listen,
wild horse.
Jim Nagy has
you know
talked
what
to me
I'm saying?
about.
Like it's a wild person to like just say yeah.
So Jim Nagy, he's the director for the Senior Bowl. So he's always scouting guys and looking for guys to bring to his game.
No, but you're tying his credibility to Jeremiah Moon, Nick. I don't know if that's good for him or you.
Well, he would have no problem with it. He is high on Jeremiah Moon. Teams will look at Jeremiah Moon. Teams are going to look at Jeremiah Moon and say, "Listen, Florida's had a bunch of guys that had injuries throughout their career. Look at the offensive linemen at Florida that didn't do anything and are now starting in the league 6, 7, 8 years." Teams will look at his physical ability and say, Florida had a bad weightlifting program. We'll get him into our system, and we're going to keep him healthy, keep him on the field. And our coaching.
Well, you think he plays in the NFL? Tell me that.
He's an edge rusher. The first and foremost, the NFL is you need a franchise quarterback. After that, you need somebody who can get after the other person's franchise quarterback, and you need a tackle to protect them. Those are 3 things. He's one of those 3 things. That's the most valued positions in the NFL. And a team will look at Jeremiah Moon and say he can get after the quarterback.
That's going to be tough for a guy that's 249 pounds. I don't disagree. I think that's where he'll be. I think that he's probably a linebacker, probably in like a 3-4 type situation. But I can't imagine Jeremiah Moon putting his hand in the dirt for 60.
No,
60
he's a 34 linebacker. Head rusher.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I'm just telling you, Nick, what people who are smarter than me.
So there's an echo in here. I feel like I just said that. But let's see. Finally, Kyer Elam comes in, projected.
5'6", man.
Yeah, projected top 15 guy. 6'1", 6'1" and a half, 191 pounds. Runs a 4.39 40, which was above average for the cornerback class. I don't think he participated in anything else. Yeah, that was official. It was a 4.39.
Damn, that's a good time for him. He made money with that. That's a good return. Yeah, I packed my bags and go home after that.
He did. He did pack his bag.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah,
running down the rest of the time. So he came in. Dan gave the stats. Bench, no thank you. Vertical jump, no thank you. Broad jump, I'll pass. 3 cone.
I would have liked to see him do. I know he can jump, bro. I would have liked to see him do some of that stuff, bro. But I think if you run a 4.39, that's official. Yeah, you gotta like grab the duffel bag, head to the hotel, man. Good day.
Yeah.
Woo, yeah.
Good day.
Sorry, I have
Hey,
some prior
if you- if-
obligations I got to tend to.
For sure, man.
That's right. Yo, if y'all need me, I'm gonna be chilling at the crib.
Right.
I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna hang out at Florida's Pro Day. If you want to talk to me again, you got my number.
Right.
I'll be there. But keep it greasy. We're out of here.
He's
Great
like
day at the
that.
office.
He's like that one LeBron James gif where they asked him a question. He just grabbed his bag, stood
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
and then just walked out of the room.
Yeah.
That's
Walk
what
out with
Kyrie
his head in
did.
the air.
But yeah, I mean, overall, solid performances. I think Jeremiah Moon did the absolute best that he could. I think other than that, we saw good, solid performances, and Silk is obviously close to the Elam family. If a 4.39 is a good time for him, then obviously, that's as good as can be expected. So congratulations to all of them.
4.3, man. So if it's official, bro, like
that's true. You did say a 4.3. You didn't say.
My eyes still official, man.
I love that. So, well, let's get next week we can break down spring football a little bit more. Spring football starts next Tuesday. We'll hopefully have some more announcements here for you guys soon about maybe some appearance at a Florida Gators baseball game in the not too distant future. Also, we're still planning on getting the details out about the orange and blue game tailgate, which will be on April 19th.
And the next week we'll have all that information, man, lined up. Tailgate, a lot of big news going on at on the horizon. A lot of news on the horizon, man. We cooking up, man. We're gonna try to get busy this spring.
Lots of news. And finally, before we do a Manscaped ad read, please continue to give love to our sponsors, Allen Horn Insurance, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, or Alabama. Please do check out homefieldapparel.com and please do check out GameTimeSidekicks.com. Somebody left us a review and said we do a lot of shout outs on this show. And the reason we do is because they support this show financially. And we're really appreciative of them. So that's the reason we shout out so many people so often. So for those that were wondering why we do so many shout outs, they keep this show rolling. So thank you to all of them. Silk, take us home with a Manscaped ad.
Love, man. What's for the shout out? Like, who mad at shout outs? Like, love, like, who mad at some love? A shout out in there with some love, bro.
Yeah, he said that we should
shout
call
out
us
to
the
the haters.
podcast.
I mean, shout out my man Kyle C, man. How about that, man? Just because we giving love, man. This is a fan of the show, so shout out to Kyle C. You give me little updates that I'd be missing. I can't roam the Twitter streets like I used to, but so I need people to just shoot me some info here and there. Anywho, shout out to the great folks at manscaped.com, man. Man, I got all the tools for your parts. The family jewels. Got the lawnmower 4.0. Safest grooming product on the market. Reduces the risk of ingrown hairs. Reduces the risk of grooming accidents, which is very important. And it is man grooming season. It's never not season. But if there is a season, if you want to take a break, wintertime will be that break, right? And then like wintertime is gone, bro. Like it's time to get you gotta start. If you're not in like beach shape, you slacking. You should have started in November because it's here. March, spring. Have you spring clean, Nick?
Yes.
No, don't lie. Don't lie, fam. So shout out to this man.
Hey, you're not gonna check, so I'm gonna lie.
I feel you. Pause. The body wash, man. The body wash is next level. Like I said, I got all the tools for your parts. The body wash is another tool I have for your part. Lather up yourself with the infused aloe vera sea salt shower gel. That sounds like some player stuff you need in your life. You can't just be out here taking a bath with some Dove. And I found out Dove is not really soap, it's lotion. Did you know that? So it's like a moisturizer. It's a moisturizer. It's not soap.
Okay.
My mom told me that. You're like, what kind of savage are you, son? This is not soap.
What kind of savage are you?
Look at when you read the bar now, you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, it doesn't say soap. So shout out to that, man. Coupon code
using Dove.
SG20
I'm using my Manscaped. You shouldn't be using Dove either.
Because you need soap, not lotion. The body wash that is, like I said, infused with aloe vera sea salt shower gel. Like this ain't no regular soap, Nick. This is player stuff. Coupon code SG20 at checkout for 20%
20
off.
SG.
20 SG. Shout out to my notes for being I'm a little dyslexic today. 20 SG for 20% off, free shipping, same corner, same time. Y'all know the vibes. It's your favorite ad read.
It is. We got a lot of exciting stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks, couple of months with some guests that we have in the works. So continue to listen. Thanks for everybody that has subscribed and liked us. Thanks for everybody that has given us a rating and review. Spotify does those now separate from Apple. So check those out if you can, or you can give us a 5-star there. Don't think you can leave a review, but hit up Silk's DMs with your reviews.
No.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Hey, anybody on the west coast of Florida, we about to pull up in Tampa, real heavy roll up network, Kush House, in a real different fashion. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited with some announcements in the future, man. Some good times, some good vibes on the way.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. Corey was able to share some of those details with me today. It's going to be an awesome opportunity for local Gator fans and supporters of us and supporters of him, and just continue to put out great stuff. So we're excited for that announcement. Well, for Corey's announcement in the next couple of days or couple of weeks. With that being said, Silk, you brought it up earlier. We got to take us out with Country Music Jesus by Eric Church.
What you got?
No, that's the name of the song. It's Country Music
I keep
Jesus.
forgetting that.
Yeah.
That's we did 8 minutes on this to start the show.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot. I thought that was just. I seen this. I just thought that was his nickname. Like Jay-Z calls himself Hova. You know
So I don't think,
I
I don't think that he walks around with shirts that say that I'm Country Music Jesus, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's,
weird. But he put that energy out there. You know what he meant. So shout out to the Country Music Jesus.
Shout out to Country Music Jesus. Boys, we'll see you at the same corner, same time next week.
Already.
Oh, that will be Florida State baseball and the start of spring practice when the next show releases. So big podcast next week.
Big podcast.
Are we taking pictures that day? What day are we taking pictures?
I think that's the day on the calendar.
All right.
We'll talk about it offline.
Already, man. Same time. We out of here.